go live?
No,
I was gonna say it should be out there.
it says
Oh
it's
dang, there it is.
unlisted. You got to
There we
publish
go.
it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's unlisted.
Oh man, dang! Look at that. There we go. There we go. All right, we should be good.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I forgot. I had it set to unlisted and I didn't. Oh man, dang rookies or rookie, I guess. Usually do this all a different way, but all
oh,
right.
it happens. It's life.
Yeah, the beauty of live streaming, people. If
Yeah,
there's anybody here yet, okay, let's see what are we doing here. See how that's all working. I think we should be all good.
yeah, we good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the beauty of live streaming. All right. So anyway, welcome everybody to the Second Street Marvel. Today we're going to be talking about the Phase 4 of the MCU, and just kind of, I don't know, where everything is, I guess, and where it's going to be going. Just kind of just talk a little bit about everything, I guess. I've got a guest with me today, which is LB from the Lonely Banter. I'm sure if you guys are here on my channel, you probably know who this gentleman is.
Yeah, that's me. Glad to be here on your stream to talk Marvel with you. This will be interesting since you're the comic book guy, so I get to get educated tonight.
Well, I really, when it comes to like some of the stuff that they've got going on here, I don't really know a whole lot. I'm not a professional by any means, but I mean, I just started reading comic books again last year after, I didn't read any for, oh man, I don't know. I don't know. It was a while. It's like 25 years probably. But yeah, so oh yeah, it looks like we got Nerdy Blurb TV in here with us. Welcome, Ryan. Glad to have you here. Um, Now, I guess we can go ahead and start right off the top. I kind of put some of these images here that you can see on the screen. I put some of those there. I guess they will be like our topics that we're going to discuss here. And I guess we're starting off with Blade. Um, Now, I didn't really look into a bunch of these things. I believe this was announced as a movie, not as on the streaming service. Correct? Um,
Yeah, it's a movie.
and
Yeah, he confirmed. I mean, Kevin Feige basically confirmed it in interviews because I guess people were confused. But
mhm.
yeah, it's a movie.
All right. Well, I guess that's a good thing. Now I was I know a lot of people. The first thing everybody's thinking is I mean, this guy was just Cottonmouth in on the Netflix Marvel series, and I've already heard people talking about that, and which to me is a little bit ridiculous. I mean, Chris Evans actually played the Human Torch before, so nobody's griping about him being Captain America.
Yeah, I think with that people are confused because like the Netflix shows are part of the MCU, but I mean, like I've said in my video, it's like Kevin Feige's like whatever with the TV stuff. I don't care about them. So blah. That's not a part of my MCU. So I can see why they did that because honestly, the TV shows aren't part of Marvel Studios, and it hasn't been that way for years since Marvel Studios broke up from actual, the Marvel Entertainment Company. So yeah, but I mean, I can see why people are confused with a lot of this stuff because I mean, not everybody is heavily into looking at this stuff like us, and more of the general audience just sees everything period with a Marvel logo as the MCU.
Right. Yeah, and that is, I guess that is confusing for just like your general audience out there. So I mean, I guess I get where they could make that mistake, but I guess I'm too invested in it, so I'm pretty much a geek, and I know how to make the distinction between the two. Although
Hmm.
it is about time they have all these properties so they can put them together. But I'm not even sure when they announced this movie for, but I can imagine it's probably going to be the next couple of years, probably 2022.
They didn't put a date with it, and I mean, this was also another confusing thing because most people weren't there to watch it live, so everyone's getting the reports from the news outlets. But everyone assumed it was going to be Phase 4, But after one of the trade, it might have been Collider because I guess the guy, I think the guy looked like Frosty, but he said he asked the question and he said no, Blade is going to be in Phase 5. But when he said that, he like sniffed and brushed his nose,
Hmm.
and he also said that um the Phase 4 schedule is set like how he had Phase 3. I don't know if you remember or not, but when Phase 3 came out at when they announced at D23 or their Marvel event, it ended up being a whole lot different because that's when they got Spider-Man and they changed a few things around. So for me, knowing Kevin Feige, he's a notorious liar because he has to keep things secret. So I'm guessing Blade will be one of the Phase 4 Marvel movies that has a date, but not an actual movie attached to it yet. So we'll see.
Yeah, probably just all in development. They
Yeah.
probably just got it all together at the last minute to announce it. Honestly, it's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
I was guessing. And I mean, they really didn't announce a whole lot. It doesn't look like, but at the same time, I think there's actually a lot to go into here, just because I mean they've got the TV show, the streaming service that they're going to be putting some of these properties on, and I mean I think there's going to be a lot, like they're going to be obviously majorly involved with the MCU, but I think they're probably going to put a lot into them. I mean I'm not sure how many episodes per season or anything they're going to do, or heck even if they're following traditional seasons or what they're going to do really. Um,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
but because I've already noticed people talking about that, just like with some of those things, and I mean, just that in itself lets them introduce people in, and I think with Blade, if they didn't put a date on it, to me, it kind of seems like just something like they learned from in the past is not announcing too many movies or too many things too far in the future because they're like, oh man, you know what, we decided not to do that, or
Right.
something came up, and that's why I wasn't too for sure if this was all of Phase 4. And apparently, Feige had said that this is the whole slate for all of Phase 4. There is like nothing else to it, or at
Yeah.
least at this point.
Yeah. It's Yeah. I mean, like I said, for us that wasn't there, and then we're going off of secondhand, knowledge. So a lot of this stuff was confusion at the beginning because like everyone was trying to be first with reporting.
Right.
So yeah, the Blade is not Phase 4 apparently, but like I said, Kevin Feige's a notorious liar. We'll see. The TV shows, what's the name? Like they're all tied into the MCU. Finally, like officially tied in,
Yeah.
and I mean Disney's definitely going to be pushing those TV shows. Maybe they'll look like mini movies because I mean I'm pretty sure Disney is putting the heavy budget into it because they got the big time actors doing it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how those not movies, TV shows turn out.
Yeah, and you know what, and they should, they should really.
Hmm.
And I think because really, I mean, that in itself, having the streaming service to go along with all these things is, I mean, it's really a game changer. Because they can, if they're in the middle of a series, like say they're in the middle of shooting it, and all of a sudden they decide, you know what, we got this movie and we got this character that we want to introduce in this series that's gonna, just drop some, just a little bit of hints or whatever, even just in a cameo until that movie is getting ready to come out because maybe they just got it done and they want to do it that fast.
Yeah.
As a sort of a way to kind of fast track things or at least put them in there sooner to get people more hyped up.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm glad they're bringing Blade back. I'm just kind of curious to see how they'll do it. I don't even think they announced a director or anything, did they?
Uh-uh.
Not that I
The only
noticed. Just the star and the movie.
Yeah, that's the only thing announced. Um, I don't know. I want to say I could assume they have a director because like why would you hire the actor before you have the director? But then again, like they've done that before, so who knows?
Yeah, and that seems kind of dangerous too because I mean, then it's like you're catering the movie to the actor,
Yeah.
building it around the actor, and that's really not the way movies are done. And I mean, unless it's like somebody like Sylvester Stallone or somebody, like back in the '80s when people, I think there was a lot of people, probably even through the '90s, that had like roles basically written with that specific person in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it just seems like something to crazy to announce, considering there's if it's not even going to be part of the Phase 4. But I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. I mean, I liked Wesley Snipes in the original, in
Hmm.
the originals anyway. He was awesome, and I don't know. Apparently, there's rumors going around that he's going to come back into it and everything as well. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously that would be cool. It should probably just be him playing it, if anything. But I haven't seen him in anything in a minute, so I'm not sure how beat up he's looking, which might actually play good towards the role.
Yeah, old man Blade.
Yeah.
Who knows how they'll play it? We'll do it. We'll just have to wait and see. But I mean, I'm not one of those people that's always been big on Blade. It's just like when they announced it, I had a surprise reaction to it because like, oh, that was the last character I would have expected to get a movie. So it's like, oh shoot, but like it's cool, I'll see it, but I don't have a jump in excitement for Blade. But I see people are excited about it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because there's there's certainly other things that people aren't jumping up and down so excited about. But and what's crazy is actually and this guy's getting kind of up there too. But there's a recent comic book put out that was Wolverine versus Blade, and
Hmm.
in the comic book, Blade looked like Michael J. White,
Mm.
and it was pretty crazy. Like, wow, it's like pretty uncanny, and which the way things kind of go, you would almost think like maybe they're gonna get him for it, but apparently not.
Yeah,
Um,
that's why I say like a lot of people don't get attached to actors. Think like with this casting stuff because I mean Marvel never cast who you think they're going to cast.
oh yeah, I can't wait till they cast Wolverine. That should be a hoot with some of the other things we've got coming up on the horizon already. Let's
Yeah.
see what's the next one here. Ooh, Black Widow. Um, Obviously we got a date on this. God, I didn't even check in. I didn't even check on most of these dates. I just seen the slate and everything. Like, oh, okay, well, pretty much all the same stuff that we knew was coming anyway. Really, I mean,
Yeah.
the only surprise here was, I mean, and that was even announced just days ago was the Thor thing. I mean, and Hawkeye. I think everybody else. I think we all knew pretty much about everything else.
Yeah. I mean, it was safe to assume based on casting, like for the TV shows, they were all announced from the Disney Plus announcement. But like
Right.
the movies, like we could all assume these were the movies coming because those were the ones that was like Black Widow was already shooting. Then the other ones had directors and then casting rumors. So it's like, yeah, there wasn't really any surprises out there except for the Blade movie and what else? Yeah, that was it. And then the titles of the actual movies.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah. Because I mean, I think we all seen a Doctor Strange movie coming. Obviously we all knew
Yeah.
Shang Chi was coming. Um, I was saying it's real. How are you so professional on the live streams? I don't know, man. I don't know, dude. I just pull it off somehow. But yeah, the Black Widow. I mean, I can't wait to see this movie. Now again, I mean, there's obviously things I obviously feel personally that I would like to see happen in this movie, and wish there was different directors attached to it. But obviously, that's neither here nor there because things can't be quite like the comics. Because if they could be, it should be the Soska sisters making this Black Widow movie. If you ask me.
Yeah, you was definitely campaigning for that. Um, yeah, so Black Widow comes out May 1st. That's the first Phase 4 movie, which, like I said, I mean, I pretty much assumed that was going to be the first Phase 4 movie because it was the only movie that was actually in production.
Right.
Um,
Right, definitely, and that we know of anyway. Because I was always kind of wondering, like, do they have some projects secretly that they're working on that we just don't know about? And it doesn't look
the,
like there was really. I mean, Shang Chi kinda, Thor kinda.
yeah, I mean, the thing with movies, like especially a big budget movie like this, it's hard to secretly shoot it because Marvel typically shoots all their movies at the same like studio locations. But this one was actually shooting overseas, and people were taking pictures when she was outside and stuff. But yeah, the only thing that is new as far as this is that Rachel Weisz is in it. David Harbour from Stranger Things and Hellboy is in it, and it's going to be well, obviously we knew it was going to be a prequel because spoiler alert, she's dead. But
Right.
it's going to be set between Civil War and Infinity War, so that's what the storyline of the movie is going to be. So,
Yeah, so obviously we can probably make the assumption that we're going to get a new Black Widow out of the movie. You know, somebody else to take on the moniker, which has happened in the comics as well.
mm,
Which obviously is probably something that less people are going to have a problem with this moniker changing of Black Widow changing from one person to another because it's going to go from Scarlett Johansson to whoever her next in line is going to be, which probably won't be Hawkeye or some other kind of guy. Uh, um, but yeah, I can't wait to I can't wait to see the Black Widow movie. I mean, I like Black Widow anyway. I mean, Scarlett Johansson in this role, and I'm kind of wondering what kind of movies it's going to be like. Is it going to kind of bring us back to say like Captain America: The Winter Soldier? Because that I mean, it seems like they could easily make it that same type of movie.
uh-huh, definitely. I mean, plus not only that, she's on the run. So I always thought like I never wanted a Black Widow movie, and the reason why is because I thought it would work better out to be like a TV series, because like a Born type TV series.
Mm-hmm.
But like now we know that it's between Civil War and Infinity War. You can do like a Born, even you can still do a Born type story, right? In the direction of how the movie is, because she's a fugitive on the run, and I don't know how this. I don't know a thing about Master, and then I don't know a thing about the guy that David Harbour is supposed to be playing. He's supposed to be playing like a Russian Captain America or something. I
Okay.
forgot the name.
Yeah,
It's a
I didn't really look into all that because I mean, like you said, I mean, it's so when it first came out, everybody was so quick to be talking about it. I was like, yeah, I'll just go with the slate and we'll run from there because basically everything after that, like you're saying, is secondhand information and we don't. I mean, other than that, I mean, what do they really know at that point? And that's what's funny is because like you were saying earlier, I was yesterday on the on Twitter and just seeing some of the tweets and everything go out. I'm like, there's no point in getting on and talking about it right now because there's just still so much more to come out.
mm-hmm,
But yeah,
exactly.
Black Widow's a good one. I mean, I'm sure that's gonna be it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see if this is just going to be a one-off Black Widow film with Scarlett Johansson, or it's like you said, she'll hand it down to somebody else. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's probably what's gonna be going on. In the long run of things, I think that's probably what's gonna happen. Because yeah, like I said, in the comics, uh, I mean other people have had the same handle. So, um,
Mm.
and the funny thing is, actually, in the recent comic that they just did, she was actually reborn after she was killed, and it was actually Steve Rogers that killed her. But yeah, she was reborn in the Red Room as a clone of herself
hmm
with implanted memories. So it was pretty crazy. It was a pretty crazy book, but it was really good. The book itself was good. It's just wish it's not the same thing we're gonna get in the movie, and that would have been awesome.
Sounds crazy, being reborn and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, and what happened in the story is she was reborn, and she was all I mean she was basically had all the memories of Natasha Romanoff in the first place, and she was reborn. She was like, dude, like she was like super pissed off at the very beginning. She's on this mission with Captain America, who killed her,
hmm
and she was, she was reborn there, and basically like she was pissed off. She was hungry for blood. She was just bloodthirsty. It was pretty crazy, and so she went to Madripoor to go ahead and make sure that she took that out on the worst people possible, people who were deserving of her evil wrath, I guess you could say. It wasn't even an evil wrath; it was a deserving wrath because she went there and there was actually a bunch of people doing human trafficking. But what they were doing is they were kidnapping women and children, and they were doing all kinds of unimaginable things and then they were videotaping it. But as they were videotaping it on this, they were doing like a live stream. It was this thing called No Restraints Play, and basically people were paying. It was kind of like that movie Nerve. I'm not sure if you ever seen that.
I have not.
Oh. it was an okay movie. It was an okay movie. But basically, like, people pay money to get into this live stream, and the highest bidder gets to call all the shots. The highest pledger gets to call all the shots. Basically, the
Huh.
director. And of course, they do some crazy, nasty things. And so Natasha, she goes out and kicks a bunch of ass and basically gets caught, and then just brings down the whole operation. It was pretty badass. It was pretty badass.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and like I said, for me, it's one of my favorites. That one of my favorite comic books I've ever read, just simply because the nature of it
Uh-huh.
is kind of what gets me. I mean, I have 3 kids, and then knowing all these things are going on out in the world, because to me it's reality based. You know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
and they're using a fictional character to tell that and show what really needs to happen to these people. You don't see Iron Man. You don't see Iron Man stopping human trafficking, do you?
Iron Man, that's too low level for Iron Man.
Oh, I know, isn't it? How how dare he? Okay. The next one I have is the Eternals. The Eternals.
Yep.
Maybe we should go through the live chats and say what's up to everybody here. I know I've seen Ryan here earlier from Nerdy Blurb TV, and Ryan is actually who does my intro. He's the guy who done my intro, the graphics and everything. Over there at Nerdy Blurb TV. Awesome dude. You guys should check out his channel. Aggressively relaxing. Great channel as well. Does these radio parodies. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for being here. Drunk 3PO, obviously. Thank you for being here, sir. Appreciate it. Tracy, thank you for being here. Tracy is a local here, where I live at. Thank you for
Hi,
being here,
Tracy.
Tracy. Gary North, welcome to the stream. And if you guys have any questions, anything you guys want to toss in here, I'm kind of paying attention to some of it. I'm going through some of this here.
Yeah, they
As we're
don't
going.
have any. No one has any questions in regard to what we're talking about yet. But I guess we're doing a good job then.
All right, so far. Clickbait Nation, Fatal J, welcome, man. How you doing? Michael Hayes, welcome to the stream. Just Rod the Rican is here. Welcome, my brother. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, so yeah, the Eternals. And I should have probably looked up all these people. They got all signed up for all this stuff. I mean, to me, it doesn't. To me, it doesn't really matter when it comes to the stars that are casting these. Because I mean, in the end, does it matter who's playing these roles? I'm sure to some people it does, but like there's Angelina Jolie and oh god, what's his name? The man, why did I just forget his name?
Richard
Um,
Madden,
yeah, and Kumail Nanjiani.
and they
Um,
got the guy from Atlanta,
mm-hmm. Oh, man, but yeah, what's his name? Um,
something Tyree, I forgot.
yeah, and yeah, and
Paper Boy.
and the Eternals. I mean, I think a lot of people are already theorizing that this is going to basically be like a telling Thanos' backstory, because he does kind of root back to the Eternals, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if this is anything I'm really excited about. I mean, it's going to be kind of cool because seeing them go into the cosmic phase, because this is obviously going to be more of a cosmic kind of story, and
Hmm.
um, again, I mean, it's one of those ones I think we all kind of knew about. Obviously, the Marvel's been pushing for their representation and everything, and they're going to be doing a lot of that in this movie, apparently, which it
For,
looks like
for,
they're
for,
doing a whole lot of.
for me, with that, it's like, I mean, I guess this is a movie that you could do it because I highly doubt they're all going to be like their regular skin colors and faces. There might be different species and whatever, just like Thanos is. So I guess this is the movie where all the people online can, yeah, we got representation. We got the first alien Area 51 person in the Marvel movie and all that nonsense.
Yeah, and the funny thing to me is, like, a lot of people, when they hear that stuff, like like Joe Russo and Avengers Endgame and all that kinds of stuff. Like, to me, I mean, like, they haven't laid anything on very thick. I mean, it's not like we're gonna see the dudes kissing and making love in the movie. I mean, they just don't put that in these movies.
Right.
To me, that's the funny thing. I mean, really, all it's going to come down to is like language, something somebody's going to say, which in itself can be enough, more than enough. But just I don't know. I mean, sometimes I think that's how people act. Is like they're like we're all of a sudden just gonna see people there just getting it on right there on the screen in the middle of this PG-13 movie.
Yeah, people are weird, I tell you. But yeah, for Eternals, like I don't know a thing about them, and that's for me is like intrigues me. Kind of like when they announced the Inhumans was going to be in Phase 3. I was like, okay, I don't know anything about Inhumans, so like, oh, I'm interested. So I start looking some stuff up about the characters and how they would do it, and it's like, okay, cool, seems cool to me. So with this, like as casting wise, like Angelina Jolie, like I would kind of say it's a big get because she really doesn't do that many movies, does she?
It doesn't seem like she has in a while. Yeah.
It's like I mean, she's kind of like Hollywood royalty, I guess, and like one of those people like, oh, that's a big time get. So I don't even think I don't think they announced the main character from the Eternals yet. So we'll see how that goes because she's gonna play Athena, I think.
Mm-hmm. Um,
So
yeah, and it's crazy to say because I was looking at just like like the whole ad they had there for the Eternals and everything, and just the font and everything. It looks like it's supposed to be like Egyptian,
mhm.
so it looks like that, and I wonder. It just kind of makes me wonder what we're gonna get out of that because I'm not sure if you ever seen like on Agents of Shield, they had this
Yeah,
season where they went through. God, what was that? When they went through. Oh man, the little portal with the. It's been that long since I've
the
seen
the
it.
the the the
And
it's not,
they went to that
the
blue planet.
homunculus. It's not called that. It's something. It rhymes with homunculus or
Yeah, I can't remember the name
something.
of it all of a sudden, but they went through that and they were in that other planet where it looked
hmm
like everything was like blue and everything, and
Yeah.
it makes me it always makes me wonder if some of that kind of stuff is going to end up coming back into the movies because they really kind of explored a lot in those TV shows, and it just makes me wonder because that place was like obviously it was hundreds, if not thousands, of years old, and there was like a big old Hydra symbol there and everything, and just like a whole. It was crazy. It was crazy, and
hmm
I wonder if any of that kind of stuff is ever going to play into these kinds of things. Not directly tie in, but it seems like something like that easily could.
It's possible, definitely. I mean, they can do it. I mean, I guess it'll be a nod to like, hey, we're not completely ignoring, like, for example, Agents of Shield. So here you go.
Yeah, especially since they're canceling it now.
Yeah, I figured that out. Like that was going to be the last season because I mean the show doesn't really get good ratings, and plus Disney Plus is now doing TV shows, so it's like, look, well, we put all our resources over here. So sad
Right.
times, but all shows can't last forever.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the few TV shows I ever watched. Like most of the Marvel Netflix stuff, like I watched it, but it was kind of like force feeding myself to watch it.
hmm
It was tough. Where like Agents of Shield, I don't know, for some reason it was tolerable for me to watch on TV, where a lot of these others weren't. And I know I'm bad too because a lot of people are saying like, "Oh, you should watch this one. You should watch that one." I'm like,
too
yeah,
many, too many shows, man.
yeah, I'm just not into them all. I mean, to me, it's some of it's just like they're not as interesting because they're basically telling something that could happen in about 2 hours and 90 minutes or less over the course of like you know 10, 12 episodes, and it's like like I don't know. Can't you just make a movie?
For me, one thing I'm glad about Disney Plus now that like they confirmed that these TV shows are going to be for Phase 4 is that I don't have to watch none of these other TV shows that they keep putting out. Not Marvel Studios, but like for example, The Runaways, Cloak and Dagger, and all 20 other TV shows. Like I don't have to watch those because I know they don't have anything directly to do with the MCU.
Right, right, yeah,
Like I mean, like, I'm like you, man. I don't watch too much TV, and like the MCU shows at the beginning was like one of the few shows I watched. But once they started coming out with this show, this show, this show, and that show, it's like, man, y'all tripping now. I don't need to watch 10 shows a week.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, it gets enough to be keeping up with like one of them, let alone you get like three, four. Man, I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I just don't
Exactly.
know. Looks like we got a few other people here. Lord Callis, welcome to the chat. welcome to the stream. Let's see what else we got here. We need to hear thoughts on the Eternals. Because I don't know a damn thing. Yeah, I don't really know a damn thing about the Eternals neither. Basically, other than it was a long time ago.
And
um,
it
yeah,
ties into Thanos somehow.
yeah.
'Cause-
Yeah, that's really about all I know. And I believe they had some comic book runs, back in the day, but they weren't even like a really big thing. They were still kind of somewhat obscure. So I'm sure there's somebody out there who probably knows plenty about them. I think a lot of these properties have people who are really geeky about them. So, oh yeah, and Selma Hayek. Selma Hayek. I can't remember if I was on Twitter or something, and it might have been in a live stream. Somebody was talking about Selma Hayek saying how she can't act and everything. I'm like, well, she can act. I mean, just depends on what you want her in. I mean, she doesn't have like super great range, but I think for the most part, what she does, she's pretty good in.
right, she's tolerable. She's not Megan Fox level, like a hot woman that is only here because she's hot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, I honestly, I'm not sure that I've ever actually watched a Megan Fox movie. I mean, I've seen bits and parts of some, but oh, yeah, because
Hey,
oh,
consider yourself
Transformers. She was in the
very
first
lucky.
Transformers. I did watch that. I did watch the Transformers, the first one. That was it. I was
That's
done
all
after
you
the
need.
first. Yeah, I was done after the first Transformers. Um, Cal says, "What's up?" I'm just worried about who's gonna play Logan. That's the deal breaker.
Look,
Yeah,
whoever's Wolverine, you have no clue. Like, there's no need to think about it or nothing. Like, you have no idea.
yeah. I was gonna say, and I'm not sure. Fatal, since Fatal J, I realize you're a new subscriber here to the channel, but I just I wanted to let you know a while back I actually did this I did this trailer park news where I actually covered who they were casting as Wolverine in there. And I'm not sure that it's a deal breaker for you because I realize, these casting choices do matter, but it was actually released that oh man. Gosh, why can't I remember her name all of a sudden? Um oh man. Why am I blanking on it? Uh Shit, I'll have to tell you, man. But it's on that video. That's why all I was trying to do is bait you into watching my video. But you should
There
go
you
back there and
go.
watch that.
There you go. You want the news, you got to watch it.
You gotta go watch my clickbait trailer park news, man. But yeah, no, and that's a huge thing though. Like when they go to cast Logan, I mean people are probably going to be really pissed off when they do it. It doesn't matter who they announce. I don't think it's really going to matter. Everybody's going to be disappointed.
For me, it doesn't matter who they cast. He just got to be short and be able to play the role. Like, I don't want a 6'3" Logan again.
Yeah, we don't need another Hugh Jackman. We don't need another Hugh Jackman doing it. I mean, and not to say that he ever like did a bad job or anything. Just it seems dang, I can't even say that. I was gonna say it seems like Marvel Studios is trying to be more true to the comics, but but I guess that kind of crumbles in on itself anyway.
All right, all right. Speaking of that, why are you on this topic? Sidetracked a little bit. So you've read the Captain Marvel comics, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not all
So
of them, not all of them, but like recent ones definitely.
I was on a live stream last night, and one of the questions was in regard to Marvel messing up Fantastic Four. Like, and I was like, okay. So I put the question out there: when has like Marvel Studios messed up one of their movies, like as far as the characters' traits? And somebody mentioned Captain Marvel, and I'm like, I don't read the comics, but from what I read from like reviews and stuff, the character Carol Danvers in the movie, her characteristics were pretty much the same as the characters from the comics. So they really couldn't explain it because I mean they hate Brie Larson, so that was basically it. So was
Right.
Carol Danvers' character in the movie, her characteristic traits, were they the same as the comics?
Uh, you know, for the most part, yes. For the most part, yes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll actually probably even say maybe not so much because Brie Larson actually made the character kind of likable because when the Captain Marvel I read in the comic books I just didn't really like.
Hmm.
But of course, the when I first got on and started reading again and was introduced to the character, it was at a point they were writing her to not be liked because
Hmm.
she was. It was during the assault on Pleasant Hill led right into Civil War Two,
Hmm.
and in Civil War Two, she's just like totally not likable in any sort of way whatsoever. She's basically Tony Stark. Oh dang! Did I just admit that I don't like Tony Stark? Oh well, that's all right. Beat me up in the comments. He's barely a hero. But
Hmm.
yeah, she was really cocky, just kind of overpowered, and just she was pretty unlikable. She was pretty annoying actually. When I first started reading, but then like the new series, like as time went on, like they recently did a run called The Life of Captain Marvel, which was
Hmm.
actually pretty decent. It was actually pretty good. I'll go. It was good, but and then like they just started the new one, and she's kind of the same character again. She's just kind of cocky, overpowered, and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, like I said, if anything in the movie, they took it light.
Okay.
Yeah, they.
So overall, you would say they did not mess up the character.
No, no, but not the character of Carol Danvers, but like Captain Marvel. Yes, I mean, they totally wrecked that plane of the mountain. That's yeah. they
Okay, so like as far as the Captain Marvel, like that part of her, like the characteristics of her character was messed up.
well, because in the comic books, Captain Marvel was a guy anyway.
Well, no, I mean like
And
as far as Carol Danvers playing that
oh
part.
yeah, no, yeah,
Okay,
no,
okay,
they nailed it. To me, they nailed
okay,
it. They nailed it perfectly. But yeah, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I guess the other stuff you probably already know. Like, yeah, it was a guy, and like they did
yeah.
all that, and
See,
to me, I've talked about this before, is the Captain Marvel, like what they did and totally trampled on actual Captain Marvel and all that stuff. There's still a way. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I should write a little script or something for it to him and go hand it to him. There's still a way for me. They could actually correct a lot of that stuff that they did wrong. So it's very easily doable, but I mean, are they going to be able to do it? That's the thing. Um, because they could easily, like I said, they could easily, since they've already since and the reason it's so easy is because in the movie they didn't. It's an origin story that we never really got any origins for. We didn't really get her origin in there whatsoever, other than she's basically saved and kidnapped from Earth and given powers. That's all we
right,
really learned. I mean, we learned she had a best friend and she was helped raise her best friend's kid. We didn't
right,
learn
right.
we didn't learn anything else. I mean, she has a family. We've seen glimpses of them,
Hmm.
but didn't learn anything about her past. So, like I said, to me, there's still ways they could kind of fix that, and that's just because they didn't really give us much. And like I said, they were messing with her brain anyway, with all the Kree technology and everything they did to her. So I mean, it would be easy for them to to bring it back to how it's supposed to be.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I had to ask you because I was like, when we was talking about that, I was like, man, I got to hit Second Street Marvel up and talk about this because you know me, I'm a very direct person.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I ask a question, I want an answer. I don't want you beating around the bush. And like when I asked the question to them and they mentioned Captain Marvel, I kept saying, look, I'm talking about character traits. I'm not talking about Brie Larson's acting ability. I'm not talking about the actual movie. I'm talking about traits of the character. And they kept mentioning Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel was a man. I'm like, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel. And they just like couldn't answer the question.
Right. Yeah. Right. I get you.
Oh
Yeah. No.
man.
And you know what? And I mean, they probably just don't know.
Right.
They probably just didn't know. And nobody ever wants to admit they don't know, right?
Yeah, it's not possible to do.
But
Not possible.
yeah, I mean, to me, the personality they nailed it down and everything. That was that was the Carol Danvers I knew. Now, not as far as Carol Danvers when she was Miss Marvel. I never really read. I don't think I've really read a whole lot of that before she became Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much. I haven't read much Carol Danvers stuff when she was Miss Marvel leading up to that. So I'm not really for sure on that aspect of it, how her attitude and everything was before. But like one of the comics that I did read, that was from older before she was actually Captain Marvel. Um, she didn't seem so cocky and arrogant. She just seemed like just like one of the normal heroes, just there hanging out and just chilling with everybody. But again, this was after she had her power stolen by Rogue, and she had just gotten her memories back and all that stuff. See, that was one of the things like even in that Captain Marvel movie, people were griping about like Brie Larson's acting and everything, how she didn't have any personality and all that stuff. And one thing I've been telling people, and this is only if they could actually do some of the things that I have ideas for for the second movie is you got to think that she was actually taken from her home planet. She was brainwashed and all that stuff because people were saying she's acting like she was supposed to be a hardened warrior. So then she comes out and finds out that she has friends and family she didn't know about. And in the comic, basically she was like that same way because she didn't have any memories, and she even says that in one of the comic books. She's like, I don't have, I got my memories back, but I don't have any emotional attachment to them because that's been gone too. I just have my memories back.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, that's that. But again, that's me making excuses for people who read a trade paperback, tossed it out the window, and decided to make a movie. which is actually what they didn't do apparently to the next thing here, which is Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh boy, that's the one that's I would say
Oh
divisive,
yeah,
controvert, backlash.
definitely, definitely. Now the thing is, I'm not sure. I'm sure plenty of people here follow Young Rippa as well. He as soon as I seen that news yesterday on Twitter, I sent it out and tagged him in it. And I don't know, it might have been about a half hour later. He had a video. He put a video up talking about that, and then later he did a live stream, and it was kind of
Oh,
exactly what I expected.
he was angry then.
Oh
If he
yeah,
did
dude.
both.
Oh yeah. Oh man, he was. Oh man, it was great. It was great too because I mean I knew he was gonna be upset because we like on some of his live streams he'd been talking about some of that stuff. But yeah, man, that was it was a great live stream he did yesterday. So I don't really know that I need to cover any of this story, but yeah, no now the thing is like I totally get it. People being upset, like about her coming in, taking over Thor's mantle. And that's the funny thing that I was gonna say is like Thor is a name. It's his name. It's not who. It's not like 007. It's not a designation. That's his name. Because everybody's talking about Lady Thor and and all this stuff. Like no, like that's his name anyway. But that because that's something that Young Rippa talks about a lot, and they actually put that in one of the comics where God, I think it was She-Hulk was beating up a troll, literally a troll,
Hmm.
and said the same thing like made a reference to the same thing because like the troll was saying Thor's a name, it's not it's not a title or whatever, and she's sitting there knocking him out, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's funny story, but yeah, no. The thing is, like, they actually did that in the comic books. Okay, so a lot of people are, angry that they're just putting a woman in there anyway, and I'm sure many of these people probably know that they did this in the comic books as well. And the thing is just as many people didn't like it in the comic books as well. So,
Right.
now the thing is like I was telling somebody earlier on one of the streams I seen was like they're actually holding, somewhat respecting the source material here. It's just
Right.
they're honoring the source material that not everybody wants to see.
Right. 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 Yeah, you're right about that. Um, for me, when I saw the title and just looking at who's directing the movie, and in the third Thor movie, how they did it, I look at it's going to be like a romantic comedy, maybe, or they're playing into the whole multiverse thing, especially with the timeline changing stuff, because Jane was in Endgame for a second, so like that
Mm-hmm.
could come into play with it. And for me, like knowing how Thor Ragnarok was, and Ragnarok really had nothing to do with the movie. It's like we don't know how they're going to take it. Like we know it's going to be some comedy mess. So it's like at the end of the day, for people to be upset about what they said, not seeing the movie or seeing a thing about it, like they're completely forgetting how Thor Ragnarok was in the direction they've taken Thor. So I don't think it's going to be something that's serious to the point where it's like, oh my goodness, they messed it up. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, and here's my thing with this. Like I said, I totally get people being upset about it. I mean that just kind of goes with it because, like I said, nobody really. There was a whole lot of people that didn't like that in the comic books anyway, and there was people who did. I'm not saying that nobody didn't. But the thing is to me, you got to think Natalie Portman's not signing on for more movies. You know what I mean?
right,
She's not gonna do. She's probably not even gonna do another movie after this, let alone two or three. So you gotta. That was the one thing I was thinking about was something's probably going to happen in the movie where she's imbued with the powers of Thor, and maybe similar to how it was when, oh man, I can't remember which guy took over Thor's mantle during the Infinity Gauntlet. Was it Eric? No, it's not Eric Masterson. God, what was that guy's name? I can't remember. It's been a while since I read that. But basically, like the hammer had to be close to this dude in order, otherwise he would change back into his human self. But the same thing happened in the Thor comics when the Jane Foster Thor, she had to have like the hammer near her, and when she didn't, she went back to basically because she had cancer. She basically went down to being frail and beat up and everything from the cancer.
hmm
So my guess is they're probably gonna do something like that, where and they left breadcrumbs. I mean, now that we know this movie is coming out, you go back and you watch Thor: The Dark World, and this completely plays right off of that. Because she had the ether
right.
she had the ether inside of her. She had those issues, and they had her they had her there even in Asgard on the God, I can't even remember what they called it, the Soul Forge
hmm
and all of those kinds of things. So I'm guessing maybe somewhere out of that is where she's gonna have developed a cancer, or whatever's gonna happen to her that's gonna play into this movie, to where Thor's gonna have to come and save her, and maybe the power, she does something to save his life or whatever, or who knows what, and she takes over the powers, and he probably loses them.
Right, and that's another great point. It's like I can understand, like you said, people are mad because they say Thor is going to be a female and the comic sucked or whatever. I understand that fully, but it's like you gotta wait and see how these things play out. Like if you're an MCU fan, you've seen all of these movies. It's time to stop thinking with your immediate emotions and remember, like, look, these movies when they announce these things and talk about these things, they don't turn out to be what they're talking about. So just gotta wait and see with Marvel, seriously, because prime example, um, Iron Man 3, the twist, even with Spider Man, the twist with the villain, like
Mm-hmm.
just gotta Age of Ultron, the trailers completely misguided how the movie was, like things like that. You just gotta wait and see now with Marvel, like stop letting these promotional talks and boost your head up into a direction to get you disappointed or angry or whatever.
Right. And and the thing is I get it because we've seen it happening over and over and over again through these movies. Obviously, I mean, God, it didn't even start with Ghostbusters 2016, but that's when it really snowballed and just went from there with all these kinds of stuff, and and I get it, and that's why people are angry and upset and have their feelings about the stuff. And like you said, I mean, I think we just give it time and see where it goes, because like I said, she's Natalie Portman's not on for another three movies, and
Right.
I'm not sure if you've seen that pic of her holding the hammer, and Taika Waititi was standing right there. She didn't look too
Mm-hmm.
happy. She looked like she was ready to slug him upside the head. But of course, that picture was probably one of those ones that they took, where you're getting
Right.
100 pictures at once, and it caught every little emotion, micro expression on her face.
Uh huh.
Because we, we've
Like,
we've all been caught in those kind of positions, right?
yeah.
Like just picture at the wrong time. It just looks really bad. It just looks really bad.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, I've been with the MCU since the get go, so it's like, I see how they do. I see how Kevin Feige talks. I see how these directors and actors talk. It's just like, look, just chill. Stop listening to them. They're doing this for marketing.
Right.
Like, I mean, Thor Ragnarok's a perfect example. When they announced Thor Ragnarok, you're thinking it's going to be the Thor Ragnarok storyline. You
Mm-hmm.
watch the movie, it's not Thor Ragnarok.
No. 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 It's just like Ragnarok just happened to happen in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, obviously all of these things aren't ever going to follow the comic books, but maybe we should jump back in the chats here and see what everybody's saying here. I know I left off right about here. Gosh, Doctor Strange Multiverse going to bring in all the Fox titles. Yeah, definitely. I think we should probably be getting to that soon. I love that Marvel is making movies out of titles that make comic book YouTubers scratch their heads. 90% of channels I've been watching is just people asking what Shang-Chi's power is. Yeah, and you know what? I don't really know a whole lot about Shang-Chi myself either. So I admittedly, yeah, I can't really speak too much on that. Um, Agents of Shield is amazing. Cloak and Dagger is great. Senior Desperado, Selma Hayek. Oh yeah, Selma Hayek is great. Um, Very beautiful lady. And man, she's aging well too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
fine wine, like fine wine. Need to go. My wife is calling. Marie can buy your comic graded or get them graded. Um, Bree in the studio nailed it. Uh, you know, I mean, it wasn't bad. There's a lot of things about it I like the Captain Marvel movie. There's some things about it I don't like. Obviously, there's some things that they didn't do from the comic books. I mean, I think their biggest bad thing that they did for that whole movie was when Brie Larson made those statements in the media and everybody got upset. I mean, I think that's really what caused most of it, more than anything. After that, I think everybody would have just been disappointed, maybe walking out of the movie because maybe it wasn't what they expected. After that, Captain Marvel was a black chick named Monica in the beginning. Well, actually, the public gave Monica Rambeau that name. I don't even think she really ever called it herself that. But yeah, Monica Rambeau was Captain Marvel for a little while only, and that was, like I said, that was the name that people gave her. The first Captain Marvel ever was Shazam. I think they were close to the same time, weren't they? The first Captain Marvel and the other Captain Marvel. Um, yes, Shazam. Which is weird. Both movies came out so close together. Yeah, they did too. Oh, Perp Minded, welcome. Greg, what's up? Oh yeah, Greg Brewer. Yeah, welcome to the live stream. Um, so we talk about let's see how much farther do I gotta go here? Okay, here we go. Mad Mitch. Mad Mitch, welcome. Mad Squirrel, welcome. If anybody's got anything that I've kind of got some of the slate here we're gonna go through. I think I'm pretty much done with Thor: Love and Thunder. Here, like I said, I don't think there's too much to talk about. I mean, like I said, for me, I think they've got plans with it. I don't think she's gonna be hanging around for long. And who knows how much Thor we're gonna get after this in the first place either.
I think Thor. I mean, I think Chris Hemsworth is going to stick around as long as he can.
Yeah, and that's something too, because a lot of people, is saying, like Robert Downey Jr. He's probably done. He might make some cameo appearances here and there. I mean, he's pretty well off. But then, I'm thinking like Chris Evans. Everyone's like, oh, he's completely done. I'm like, I don't know. He could still come back because if he's really wanting to do some of the things that he wants to do. I mean, sure, he's a big name now, but he's wanting to like direct movie. Like he's already directed a movie, and his directorial debut. I liked the movie. I thought it was pretty good, but if he wants to do those smaller indie type of films and just things like that, he's gonna need money for it. His money's them Captain America checks ain't gonna last forever, and when you're not getting those regularly, it you know, it's funding he could use. So I think at some point we'll see him come back, if only for a cameo role or something. I don't think he's done. Stu Jersey X, the Senate, what's up? Uh, these announced titles are just an appetizer until we get the Fantastic Four and the Mutants. Yeah, really. I mean, I think they are. I think they are too. Fantastic Four is probably obviously going to be what Phase 5, um, and the Mutants. The Mutants. I'm kind of wondering where we're going with that. It makes me wonder if mutants are going to start being introduced in through the Disney streaming service. Um, the Thor: Love and Thunder looks
as,
like it would be perfect for the front of Harley Quinn book with Fabio.
and as far as the X Men thing, like, see, that's another thing. Like, everyone was reporting it as X Men, but Kevin Feige said mutants. But then after Hall 8, someone asked him about it,
Mm-hmm.
and he said X Men and mutants are interchangeable. So I'm thinking based off what that is, because like I said, Kevin Feige's a liar. He knows the X Men are coming, But I'm thinking how they would be introduced maybe through Doctor Strange,
Hmm.
and they won't be the X-Men team at first. They'll do it like first class. Like
Right.
they'll be mutants, and then they build into a team. That's what I'm thinking.
Right. Yeah. And
Cause
yeah, that's my exact thoughts too. And I did a video like God, it's clear one of my videos when I had 5 subscribers. I probably had 10, but no. The I did a video where I was talking about the X-Men coming into the MCU, and my whole thing was I think they're gonna bring them in, and it's going to be like they'll probably just bring like some in, like bring in, here's Xavier, here's Magneto, and just bring them in like in solo film, or just bring them in other films, not all together, and then bring them
Mhm.
together. My thought was, and at the time, I think that was before the streaming service was even announced, was that they will probably make, say, like say in Black Panther they introduce Storm in there, and then maybe
Mhm.
they do another movie about so and so, and they have like 2 other mutants in there, and then they do like maybe they do like maybe like 2 movies or 3 movies leading up to like the X-Men, just like they did the Avengers.
Exactly.
and
So.
and part of the reason I thought that was because, like, when you think about it, between the mutants, whether it's the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or even the X-Men, all of them characters have compelling stories to tell of why they're on the side that they're on. They didn't just end up there just because, like, oh, hey, I'm a bad guy. um, it's not quite how it happened, especially when Magneto himself isn't quite a bad guy, even though he is.
Mhm.
And then that's the crazy thing about when they go to bring in the X-Men and something like that, is there's no, and at times they've all worked together towards common goals as well. So there's just so much they can do with the X-Men. So
Right. Exactly.
that's why I think we'll start to seeing them sprinkled in a little bit.
That's what
Ooh,
it's.
oh, that was the next one there that came up. The Marvel Studios What If animated series. Um, that should be a good one. And there's a whole lot that they can do with that. But I was always wondering, like, with this What If series, they put these What If scenarios up there. Wonder if they're ever going to try to make movies based off of them, because they could do What If, and bring in Spider-Man 2099 that way. Just do something from animated, especially since most of these things are going to be crossing over into the movies apparently anyway. But hopefully it's a pretty good series.
Yeah. That's. I I'm gonna watch it because it's like okay, I get to see some what if stuff and get your mind thinking. I'll be interested to see how the animation is done.
Yeah,
Hopefully it's hopefully it's good animation and not this moving at 150 mile per hour animation that a lot of these things do these days.
right, right.
And
Yeah,
and hopefully they don't use whoever does like the Marvel animated movies to do the animation.
yeah, no, yeah, they better not. I mean, it's cool if they use the same people, but they better, step up their game compared to
Yeah.
what they've done in the past. Because I mean, it worked back then, it worked back then, but I don't know how that it's gonna work so much now, especially like just with some of the things we've been seeing coming out in animation anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're gonna go like full like kind of motion capture stuff like a Alita Battle Angel or anything, but um, I would think they're probably going to get somewhat close to that kind of quality.
Yeah. I'd like to see them step it up a little bit and blow my mind with the animation. That'll be.
Um, yeah, no, on this series, I guess one of the things they were going to do is, what if Peggy Carter became Captain America? What if she got the super soldier serum? Which is
Yeah, yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. They said, yeah, they did say they were gonna do that. Well,
It'd be an interesting
I'd like to see
concept.
what if Captain America didn't crash the plane.
Right, right.
That stuff like that.
Well, another
That'll be
one I thought
cool.
would be cool is, what if Black Widow got bit by the spider?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
stuff like that would work for me. It's like taking all the main characters and flipping it.
Right.
Like, what if Iron Man never was kidnapped? Stuff like that.
Yeah, that would be a good one. That would be a good one. Yeah, what if he
You
yeah, if he
you
never got kidnapped? That'd be a crazy one.
you've convinced me. Like I wasn't interested in this, but now we're talking about it and I'm thinking about it. It's like Yeah, there's a lot of possibilities here.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean they've obviously done some of these in the comics too, but I mean, yeah, that would be crazy. Like I know one of the recent ones I got was what if Spider what or God, what was it? What if Spider-Man was the Punisher or something, or what if the Punisher was Spider-Man? Like it was crazy, and on the cover you see Spider-Man like with his web shooters, but he was all like
Uh-huh.
he's all like Punishered out and he was shooting out bullets and shit. It was crazy. It was a pretty crazy. I don't know if I've got that here, where I can grab that real quick. But yeah, I don't see it. It's yeah, it was a pretty crazy concept. Um, and then oh yeah, next one is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Again, I don't know much about Shang-Chi myself, but I guess before we get into that, we get in and say what's up to everybody else here. See what else anybody else
Oh,
has to say.
so hold on. In relation to what we're talking about, Stu Jersey exit. I wonder if different series will be bi-weekly or released at once. I was actually about to mention that. So great minds think alike. Like, what will they do with the series? Are they going to do it the Netflix way, or are they going to do it the traditional once a week?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Or I mean, yeah, um, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that because it's a streaming service, and I feel like we should be able to binge watch it. But that's not what they want.
Yeah,
You know.
I would do it this way. I would do like maybe 2 episodes every 2 weeks. Like, give you 2 episodes this week, and then skip next week, and then two next week, something like that. Because when you think about it, binging is great, but there's so many shows that are binging. It's like you watch the shows in 1 or 2 nights, you talk about it for the weekend, and then you don't talk about it anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's a good idea. Like you said, like maybe release a couple, and then next couple of weeks release a couple of more. And then at that point, it makes me wonder if they even have to release a couple then, because it's like, okay, re-release two of them. Well, why didn't you just release one longer one?
Right, right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder how they're going to do that because I mean, obviously they're not going to have a whole lot of these original shows that were made for the streaming platform when they first start. Um, so I guess keeping people's attention and people on it is going to be the big thing. So yeah, that does, man, that is a good question.
Like for me, because like with some of the Amazon Prime shows that I watched, like the miniseries shows, they drop them once a week, and it's like you see them, you watch the show, you watch the episode. It's like what, an hour, 2 hours, and it's like, okay, I want more right now, but you got to wait a week. So it's like it keeps you thinking about it and talking about it throughout the week, waiting for that next episode. So I probably do it that way instead of just dropping them all at once.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
is anybody talking about Stranger Things season 3 anymore?
Right. Yeah, I don't think so. I like the perp mind that says, "What if Captain Marvel was actually good?"
Well,
Oh man. Oh.
some people say it's amazing, and I ask those people that question, what is amazing about it? I still don't get the answers. I get ignored.
Yeah, and
But
like I
it's
said, I mean,
whatever.
I thought Captain Marvel was. I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. I mean, it wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a terrible movie. Believe me, I've seen worse movies. Um,
Right.
and people rag so much on Thor: The Dark World, and like, are people just? I know people would just put Captain Marvel below Thor: The Dark World just because they don't like Brie Larson, but. I don't know, but me, the thing is I actually like Dark World, so it's it's not.
I'm not mad at Dark World like a lot of people are. I just thought the comedy was forced. Like there was too much Darcy in the movie. That was my
Oh
issue
yeah,
with it.
yeah,
And yeah, that was the biggest issue I had with the movie. But outside of that, it was all
yeah. That was
right.
that was kind of the good thing about Ragnarok was he got dumped, so you're not gonna have to see the best friend anymore. She hates your ass.
Right. Exactly.
But yeah, the Shang Chi thing. I like I said, I don't really know about a whole lot about Shang-Chi, but they're obviously bringing in the Legend of the Ten Rings into this, which should be pretty interesting. We're gonna find out about the real Mandarin, and that's gonna be interesting. And I don't know a whole lot about the Ten Rings, but the one thing I do know is there is still one of the henchmen in the Ant-Man movie, in the first Ant-Man movie.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously they're a big organization, kind of just like well, I mean essentially just like the Hand Word, just like man.
So let me let me ask you this question as far as Shang-Chi and the Mandarin. Do you think this was planned the whole entire time, or is this just some okay, we know we messed up in Iron Man 3 with the Mandarin, so here we are giving you the real Mandarin.
I think they knew they messed up because I mean it wasn't that much later they did that one
One shot.
shot where they kind of did that, but honestly, to me, it seemed maybe it's one of those. The Mandarin is one of those kind of things. It's just a title too, where there's probably different ones, and it gets passed down from generation to generation. Or maybe there's a spirit or whatever that takes over somebody, and all of that kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I mean, obviously we're gonna find out about it all here because I don't think they're gonna be able to really be using much from the comics other than who these people were individually and just kind of integrating them as they kind of mishmash everything together here in the MCU as we see anyway.
Right, right, right. Yeah, but as far as my talking to people about Phase 4, Shang-Chi is actually the most talked about and most excited movie from people I've talked to, which is surprising to me because, like I said, I mean, I never heard of Shang-Chi. I mean, I never read comics, etc., etc. I've heard of a lot of Marvel characters. Shang-Chi, I never heard of until they announced, okay, here's the director for Shang-Chi a few months ago. I'm like, huh? What is a Shang-Chi? Who is this person?
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting to see so many people excited about this, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and the one thing I like about it is because we'll finally actually see is Marvel gonna give us a good kung fu type of movie?
Right.
Because Iron Fist just quite didn't cut it. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
see, God, who was it right here? Just said too about uh, oh yeah, right here. Pert Mine says I can see them introduce Iron Fist in the sequel, and who knows? Maybe we get Iron Fist in the Shang-Chi movie. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Iron Fist was actually kind of a thing that got passed down to people too. Other people took over the mantle as well. So that's highly possible, except for the fact that I mean, where they got like 2 years before they can do anything with those characters from the Netflix Marvel stuff. But that doesn't mean that they still can't drop any hints or anything without actually mentioning it. So yeah, I mean that'll be definitely an interesting movie. I mean, I'm excited to see it. Like most of these, I can't really say I'm excited to see most of them anyway. I mean, I think at this point it's kind of like we expect Marvel to put out movies, and
Hmm.
I mean the only thing you can really get excited about is speculating on what's going to happen in them. I mean,
Yeah.
for the most part, I mean, you know, they announce a movie, it's like, yeah, okay, cool, you're announcing a movie, hurry up and make it.
Yeah. There's nothing in Phase 4 that is like, wow, amazing. Like when they said X-Men, I mean, I knew X-Men was coming, so it's not like it was a big surprise for me. So nothing here is really exciting. If what would it as far as like X-Men and Fantastic Four, if we didn't know, if they didn't buy Fox and then they would announce we have Fantastic Four and X-Men coming in Phase 4, that would have been a big shocker for me and everybody in the world. But this is like, yeah, we already know this.
Right, yeah, we know you're bringing it. We know you're
Yeah.
bringing it. And yeah, and God, what's next here? Doctor Strange, in the multiverse of madness.
Mm.
This one is interesting to me. Just
Yeah.
because some of the things they said about it anyway, it's going to be Marvel's first like scary movie and things like that. And obviously we got multiverse of madness. Okay, now that's cool. Obviously they're going to be playing with the multiverse and things like that in this movie. which will be an interesting thing to see because I know a lot of people out there don't like the multiverse and just the whole thoughts and the concepts of it all, and I totally get that because at that point eh, you can pretty much be a lazy writer and write yourself out of anything. Back, oh, multiverse.
Yeah,
And that's the bad thing about it. The only thing is like realizing that even if you mess anything up throughout the multiverse, it messes up that whole multiverse. It changes that particular timeline and it branches off into something else, which kind of brings me back to something that I heard somebody else mention about the Thor thing because I remember I heard somewhere somebody was talking about what do they get what's Thor gonna do in this next movie because they don't have Mjolnir and bringing in like Jane Foster to have Mjolnir and the hammer and all that stuff. And the thing is like even in the comic books, he took like pieces of the old hammer and used it to make other hammers and stuff like that too. So I mean, I imagine we'd probably see something like that. And it looks like we got
What's
Fatal
up,
J.
Second Street Marble?
Dang, is that Michael Clark Duncan?
This is the Clickbait King, the Clickbait Emperor, Fatal J. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well, doing well. How are you, Clickbait Captain Clickbait?
I'm doing good, my friend. What's up, everybody? What y'all talking about?
Doctor Strange too.
Yeah, Multiverse
Yeah,
of Madness.
yeah, that's how they gonna bring in all the Fox titles.
Yeah,
That's how they gonna bring in everything. That's how they gonna tie it in.
yeah, and the one thing I was thinking about this movie, I haven't heard anybody mention yet, is just the name in itself. I don't know why nobody else has mentioned this yet. Maybe just other people don't like this stuff, but multiverse in in the Multiverse of Madness to me sounds like that movie In the Mouth of Madness. And I'm not sure if you guys have ever seen that movie, but
I never heard of it.
Me either.
oh
You
man.
seen more movies than me.
Dang, yeah, no, man. Oh, okay. Maybe that's homework. That's homework. Got to go watch In the Mouth of Madness. But to me, it just kind of reminds me of that. And people were talking about Nightmare possibly being in it and stuff like that. And just go watch the movie In the Mouth of Madness, and then think about this concept of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It just kind of made sense. Like I kind of got excited when I heard this. This was actually something I was pretty excited to hear about, and especially knowing that we're going to have Wanda in this as well.
Yeah, and Wanda. I mean, Hush told the TV show WandaVision is going to lead into Doctor Strange too. So there's
And
go.
now,
There's more
see, I think
tie-ins.
that's pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
pretty cool that they tie in the Disney Plus TV shows with the movie universe. I don't think
hmm
that's ever been done before, have it?
no.
Not really. I mean, like they tied some stuff from that was a Dark World and I think Winter Soldier. Oh, and Age of Ultron in through Agents of Shield, but that's really about it. It wasn't like the show was canon in any way, really.
Yeah, and affected. It didn't affect the movie
Well,
because
yeah,
you're right. I think Samuel L. Jackson, he showed up in the Agents of Shield episode.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
And you know
mean,
what?
Lady Sif
Haven't
did
we
as well.
gotten a Nick Fury movie yet? Because Samuel L. Jackson got big star power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it makes me wonder what kind of role if he's going to play a role in this in the Black Widow movie.
so as far as I don't know, I don't think he's in it because yeah, he haven't unless he's a secret. But as far as Doctor Strange too, like I'm interested, like you said, because I want to see how they if that's how I feel they'll introduce like Fantastic Four and the mutants per se. But also, I don't know if y'all remember, but with the first Doctor Strange, they talked about it was going to have horror elements in it. It was going to be a real trippy movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that was got me excited into Doctor Strange because I'm like, okay, we're going to see a completely different type of Marvel movie because that's the way they talked about it. They
Mm-hmm.
also mentioned how it was going to be like Fantasia and stuff, and then you watch the movie, ain't none of that in the movie. So that's why like I take what they say about these movies with a grain of salt because it's built to hype people up. But if they do go down that route and do a actual different genre movie for Doctor Strange too, that'll be pretty cool. But like I I mean I was really excited for Doctor Strange, like I just said, and I liked it, but I was a little bit let down because of what they were saying the movie was going to be. But if they go down this route with the second movie and go how I feel like they're going to go, it will be probably it'll probably be the best solo movie. Well, all of them are solo movies except for Eternals, but I think it'll probably be the best solo movie out of what was mentioned so far.
Oh
Yeah, because
yeah.
with Doctor Strange, you can do so many different things that we haven't seen yet in these films so
Mm-hmm.
far. So I think it's gonna be pretty good. And Cumberbatch, that is like the best pick ever for Doctor Strange. I don't think they could have picked a better actor for that role.
Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, Cabbage Fresh Kids.
Yeah, no, he was well cast, and man, that reminds me. Hopefully we get more Rachel McAdams. In
Yeah,
Doctor
I'd like to see her
Strange.
come back.
Oh yeah, me
She's
too.
one of my favorite actresses.
Oh, me too. Me too. I mean, not only just because she's hot, but she's actually a really great actress too. You ever
Yeah,
see that movie Spotlight?
I haven't watched it, but I need to watch it.
This
But
is a good
I've
one.
seen a lot of movies that she's been in, and I enjoy her acting.
Definitely, definitely. Um, let's see. Pert Minded says Nightmare is going to be an interesting villain.
Oh, they
Um,
did they announce who the villain was?
well, just Nightmare. It's been rumored that Nightmare will be in it.
Okay.
So, and that's certainly one possibility. And like I said, Multiverse of Madness to me almost sounds like that's what's going to happen because the movie In the Mouth of Madness, some crazy stuff is going on in that movie, and I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to give anything away from that movie because who knows? I mean, people need to go watch it. It's a good one.
But you know what's crazy? Out of that whole list that they gave us, I'm more interested in the non-powered movies like Black Widow,
Mm-hmm.
Hawkeye, and Shang-Chi. It's just I always was more attracted to the superheroes who didn't have powers. Like my favorite movie of all time out of the Marvel universe is Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really looking for those. I'm out of that whole bunch. I'm looking forward to those movies.
Yeah, and that's something I definitely like about Black Widow. I mean, she's just a badass. She don't even have powers. Um, which is the same kind of thing. Like, I mean, obviously we don't see it here, and I've talked about this before. Is Punisher? We're probably not going to get a Punisher movie in the MCU just because you can't do a proper Punisher movie and make it PG-13.
No, you can't.
Um, but he's one of those characters too. Like, he don't have any powers, but I guarantee you he kicks some ass.
But you know what? You made a good point. Because speaking of rated R, they just announced that they coming out with a Blade movie. They going to have to make that a rated R movie.
Well,
I cannot see a PG-13 Blade movie.
well, the Disney CEO said no rated R movies in the MCU. So there's your
See, that's
answer.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
But
I guess my thing is they're gonna have to do basically like some Quentin Tarantino style of editing to get the violence across without actually showing it. Because I mean, if you think about it, in Endgame, they were actually pushing the envelope here. There's a couple of scenes I'm sitting in there like, really, this is a PG-13. Like, basically, when we know what Clint Barton was doing as Ronin, in those scenes, that was some pretty graphic stuff for a
Yeah, they
right.
PG-13
pushed it.
movie.
I mean, The Dark Knight was PG-13, and
Right.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's who knows all what they base all of that off of because it's not all always just based off of language or necessarily simulated violence and things. So yeah, I won't even pretend to know anything about it.
Oh, you're right. Because it seemed like when I was younger, if you said four curse words in a movie, that's rated R. But
Right.
now they just cuss up a storm and it's PG-13.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Tony Stark was cussing to his daughter. I've never cussed around my kids.
So out of that whole list,
Hey, what are
which
you?
movie do y'all anticipate the most?
Are y'all doing some laundry or something?
That was me. I just opened up my laundry room.
Oh man. Um. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to this Doctor Strange movie. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. I mean, um, what they did with the first one and then everything they got going into this next one should be good. God, what's next? WandaVision. That's going to be an interesting one. The TV show.
Yeah,
Um,
it's based. She'll be dealing with the loss of vision. Monica Rambeau will be in the movie, not movie, TV show as an adult.
yeah,
So, okay, like, how is that going to work out? Like, how are they just going to magically cross paths?
yeah, and I don't know, and they're calling, they got Vision in there too, so it's like, what do they do? I mean, are they gonna bring him back? Is this gonna be
No,
memories? Is
they're
Yeah,
not
he
bringing him
dead.
back. They're not bringing him back. So I guess it'll be flashback scenes
huh?
because, like they
Yeah,
said,
cause
the synopsis is she's dealing with the loss of vision.
yeah, cause Vision died before the snap.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. Like,
I know. It's like they're. I mean, you're giving us a lot of stuff from, and it seems like that's what a lot of this stuff is prequel stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
You
prequel
know,
movies.
it's all prequel movie. I
But you,
mean, Black
but I'm
Widow,
gonna I'm gonna tell
Eternals.
you one that kind of piqued my interest the most though. That what if?
Yeah, yeah,
Cause I remember Marvel came out with a what if comic line like Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, stuff like that. Now that would be interesting
right.
if we get movies that's not canon
Mm-hmm.
to the MCU. That'd
Yeah,
be pretty fun.
yeah, and we were talking about that, and already, and LB had mentioned it'd be cool if they did like a what if Tony Stark didn't get kidnapped.
Yeah,
That'd be crazy, because he'd still be in the arms race and doing all that kinds of stuff. Might not even have Iron Man. But yeah, WandaVision. I don't know how to feel about that one. I'm glad they're doing something with Wanda finally, but they should have done something a long time ago. Um, and that's something I think I've heard. Plenty of people have talked about is, just kind of the way the route the MCU has taken in introducing some of the characters. They should have just went with a Wanda movie a long time ago. A Scarlet Witch movie, a solo film. She should have
yeah.
probably actually been the first female solo film that they did.
Nah, Sean. I mean, not Sean. Stu Jersey said Wanda's show. I think is before Infinity War when her and Vision left the team. Nope. They said that it's dealing with they're dealing with the loss of she's dealing with the loss of Vision, and then it leads into Doctor Strange too. So yeah, it's definitely not a prequel.
Yeah, and that just makes me wonder. I mean, why just with the Vision thing in there? What's I mean, just memories. I mean,
Yeah, I mean
how
that's what
long
I
did they have really? A couple years?
yeah that's my assumption. If they say she's dealing with the loss, then it's going to spend time showing stuff before visions, dreams, nightmares, I guess.
Yeah,
But if Monica Rambeau's in it, it's like okay, yeah,
yeah.
we'll see.
And yeah, I was gonna say, and how's that? Obviously, that makes me wonder if what they're gonna do with Monica Rambeau going into, like, say, the second Captain Marvel movie then, because it only seems like the right kind of thing to do to put her back in the next one.
Yeah.
Um, it only seems like a logical move to do after that. And
Hmm.
it is kind of strange how they didn't mention anything about Captain Marvel in this panel at all. No Captain Marvel 2 or anything. Anybody else find
They
that a little odd?
I mean, I like I said, I didn't watch the panel. Like I'm just reporting, like
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
news outlet said. But they did mention Black Panther 2 and Captain Marvel 2, and they said that they're coming. They just wasn't on the schedule. Now,
Okay.
because like I haven't looked back, but I remember when Disney announced their slate of movies for like up to 2025 or something like that. Like there was a bunch of Marvel movies, like 3 movies a year. So like if I can remember, there are movies that are scheduled for Marvel that doesn't have an actual movie scheduled, a title. So it's possible that some of these movies they say they're coming but don't have a date could be in those slots. But I mean, like I said, Kevin Feige did say after Hall H that like he basically said schedule is subject to change. So
I
we'll
can
see.
dig that. I can
Yeah.
dig that because
Yeah.
James Gunn keeps saying he working on Guardians 3.
He is, and yeah, he is. But that's the thing too. Um, he won't be able to do Guardians of the Galaxy 3 until after Suicide Squad 2 is wrapped up in production, and Suicide Squad 2 comes out 2021, if I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy ain't coming out to 2022 at the earliest.
Right. Yeah,
So
I think the same thing. And yeah, like I said, I mean, I think there's probably some things maybe they're not telling us about, or maybe they might shuffle things around just because they know things have happened in the past. But
mhm.
you know, and that maybe God, where was I going with? I was thinking about something else with that WandaVision thing. Um, I can't remember what it was. It mustn't have been that. Mustn't have been that important. Um, God, what's next? Oh, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series.
That's probably my least one I want to see.
See, and to me, this is the one I most want to see because the way everything has happened so far in the MCU is it leads up to a story that I would like to see happen on the big screen. I just don't know that it's going to happen here, but the way Endgame ended and this TV show, just everything kind of alludes to what happened. Basically, what happened in Assault on Pleasant Hill, going into Civil War II, going into the Secret Empire, because basically through that whole series was when Sam was given the shield and became Captain America. So that's why this one really interests me a lot. Because I want to see exactly what's going on in this show, and you know, I like these two characters, but what happened in that whole throughout that whole series was basically Falcon became the new Captain America. You know, Steve Rogers appointed him, and nobody liked the dude. People were going around. They had, you know, like, and the funny thing is, during that whole series was actually written during the time that the elections were just going on, like 2015, 2016. And throughout the whole series, the Sam Wilson Captain America series, he a lot of it looked like you were just watching CNN and Fox News just put onto the comic books, and like to me it was like it was written by Nick Spencer, and I'm actually a Nick Spencer fan, but it just seemed like lazy writing because I'm like, dude, you're just putting what's on the news in a comic book, and putting a couple of heroes into the movie, or in putting it, you know, with a couple of heroes in the story. And the funny thing is, because there was things like hashtag not my captain and all this stuff, and it was basically the whole story was about Sam Wilson's struggle to take over the mantle of Captain America while he was going through doing things that, you know, he felt Captain America would have done, and even throughout the whole thing, he pretty much has Steve Rogers' blessing and everything, and saying that he's, you know, Steve Rogers like, no, dude, like, I gave you the shield, you Captain America, because I picked you, and I think, you know, I believe you will do the right thing no matter what. And that's kind of how the whole series was him trying to come to terms with being Captain America, nobody liking him, and then eventually he gives the shield back. At the same time, he was coerced by Steve Rogers to give it back as well. At the same time, because Steve Rogers didn't just want to be a jerk and basically, you know, take the shield back from him and say, "That's it, man. You're not Captain America."
So is he just rocking the shield or he rocking the uniform too?
In the comic book, he was rocking a different uniform. It was a different uniform. It was like Captain America themed.
Yeah.
So yeah,
for me,
that'd be interesting to see.
for me, I'm not. I mean, honestly, like none of those shows I'm really interested in. Um, but for me, like with those two, it would be better than doing them solo because for me, I don't think those characters as what we're seeing is something they should have solo. So them doing a buddy thing will work out fine. And the villain is going to be Baron Zemo. So what intrigues me about that is how did Baron Zemo? Did, I'm trying to remember the end of Civil War because how did he get? Who took him and put him in prison? Oh yeah. What's his
T'Challa
name?
got him.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
his name? What's his name?
Ross had him.
Oh, what was Martin Short's character's name?
Ross. I can't remember his.
Okay, yeah,
It
Ross.
wasn't Thaddeus Ross. It was.
Something Ross.
Yeah.
Yes, I forgot. Yeah, they captured him, so it'll be interesting to see how he escapes because I know they bring him back in. Sharon called it Agent 13, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they bring she's back. Emily Van Camp's back in the series, so I'm assuming Baron Zemo escaped, and then they got to figure out how they're going to get him again. So
I want to
that
say this gonna be the same actor.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
the same
yeah,
actor.
Daniel Bruhl. Yeah,
Oh,
which is great.
It's the
And
same
that's yeah,
people.
he a good actor.
see, and that's and just and that in itself is another thing that gets me excited that we might actually see that story because okay, this is going back into that the comic I was just telling you about with Secret Empire is basically what happened is in this book right here, um, Avengers standoff in this series right here. Basically, what happened is there are look, and you can even see Jane Foster Thor in there. Um, what happened in this series was basically Shield had Maria Hill more like it. They had a prison that was more like they had it and they were using the cosmic cube. They're using the cosmic cube and they built this prison and it wasn't a prison. They basically changed everybody's like perception of who they were, like brainwashed them basically. And basically all these bad guys were being held captive in this little town, but they were all being productive citizens. They didn't remember their past or anything like that. And like you got one guy who's like selling ice cream out of an ice cream shop. You got the other guy who's a mechanic, which I think God was a Deadpool who was a mechanic. I can't remember. There was just different people in these different that were in this prison, kind of like what they did on Agents of Shield. It was pretty crazy. So they were all stuck in this reality that they didn't know. And Baron Zemo was the guy that was sitting there locked up with them that realized at one point that he was a prisoner and that it was all fake. And he's the one that actually started the whole thing. He got a hold of I believe with the help of Red Skull ended up getting in there, but they ended up breaking out of the prison and basically put all the heroes in the prison, and all the heroes thought they were somebody else, and all the bad guys were out of prison, and like basically all the Avengers were trapped in Pleasant Hill, along with Maria Hill, who was the person who kind of spearheaded the whole project, and
Man, that's mind blowing.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like when I seen Civil War, I'm like, holy crap! Like, dude, they've got him in captivity, and basically what ended up happening was they had him in captivity, and they got him, and then Steve Rogers actually came to break him out because the Cosmic Cube took over Steve Rogers' mind, and that's where everybody thinks that he became a Hydra agent, which he really wasn't. And anyway, so he came and he broke out Zemo out of the jail, out of being locked up, and told him like, hey man, like I remember my past, I'm here to save you, I need your help, but I need, we got to do this, and he had his plan, and like Zemo was sitting there like, okay, and Steve Rogers came up and just hugged him and everything, and like he was like, okay, and then later in the comic book you see Zemo saying like, I had no clue what was going on, but this dude was so loony, he's like, I couldn't help but go along with it. Is pretty much what it amounted to.
Ain't Zemo in a villain group called the Thunderbolts?
Yes. Yes.
I'm surprised Marvel haven't tried something like that with a villain group. I think that'll be interesting too.
Well,
Yeah, it would. I'd love
mm-hmm.
to see them do something like that, like do a villain group or more movies from a villain perspective.
Yeah, I was just saying the Winter Soldier was actually part of the Thunderbolts. Was in some of the Thunderbolt comics as well. So
Yeah, and I think Ross is too. The guy that always try to kill the Hulk,
right.
the general.
Yeah. Yeah. Thaddeus.
Matter of fact, he turned into the Red Hulk.
Mm-hmm. And the other interesting thing is like that we seen in Spider-Man: Far From Home. And that was like one of the scenes I seen some people say they didn't like, but that scene in Far From Home where Quentin Beck goes and starts talking to all his henchmen and everything, basically after Peter Parker left that bar.
Mm-hmm.
He was sitting up there talking, talking about, hey, that was our plan and we did good, and he's calling everybody out. And you can see that he had a whole network of basically bad guys already helping him.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think that only kind of alludes to that's something that they're going to do or something they need to do in these movies anyways, get that collection. To me, it alluded to whether they're going to do the Sinister Six or whether they're going to do just any of these other basically bad guy teams like the Thunderbolts or anything like that as well.
That was one of my favorite scenes from that movie. Just seeing like bad guys like, oh, we're getting together because this hero messed us up. I like that.
Yeah, we all feel slighted by Tony Stark. F him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was what was so great about that. But a lot of people didn't like that, and of course, can't really count on a lot of people, can we?
Yeah, you can.
Let's see. Studio X says Vision didn't do much when he was alive. Nothing about Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Um, what they showed is a lot for the next 2 years. Yeah, and that's really what I thought too. Is just the next couple of years. Wilson became Cap in the comics. Yeah, and yeah. So I don't know. To me, I can't wait to see the series because I like Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier too, and he's actually did in one of the scenes is probably one of my favorite scenes in the MCU, which was there at the on Civil War where they were in the airplane after they had just left the airport, and he's sitting there talking to Steve, and Steve is like, what you did all those years, it's not your fault, killing all those people. And like every time I see the damn movie, like I get goosebumps and my hair stands up. Is Bucky just turns right back to him. He goes, yeah, I know, but I did it. And I'm just like,
Right.
damn, man, like, dude, like, to me, that speaks so much to his character, and just like, I mean, you know what? Because because no matter what, even though he knows he was brainwashed, he's still willing to take that personal responsibility that he went and did all that bad stuff. Because he even said in the movie that all that stuff that happened to him, he remembered it all.
Right.
When Tony Stark asked him, he's like, "Do you even remember her? Do you even remember them?" And he's like, "I remember all of them." And so that's what's pretty crazy about it, especially considering they used that mind machine on him to basically
Yeah.
lobotomize him, so he wouldn't remember, but he did.
I want to ask y'all a question. Do you think we'll ever have a star caliber in the Marvel universe like we did with Robert Downey Jr.?
Um,
Uh,
it's hard to say. I mean, Angelina's already there, right?
I mean, honestly, how do you mean start? Like, as far as acting ability and like basically crossing over to the mainstream, that type of thing.
Yeah, as far as acting ability, tying in all the movies together, because pretty much all the MCU movies had Robert Downey Jr. in them, and he
Um,
just he just had that pull to where everybody wanted to see him in the movie. So, do you think Marvel will calculate a certain actor to step into that role?
I
for
don't think
me,
so.
like I don't I don't see an actor currently in the MCU that has the gravitas that Robert Downey Jr. has, because he was certainly the best actor out of all of them, and his charisma is beyond anyone can even get close to. Um, I mean, for me, like Tom Holland, like Spider Man is supposed to be. If correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Spider Man the face of Marvel as
Yes.
the
Pretty
character?
much. Pretty
Yeah,
much.
he
For
kind of
me,
like the Superman of Marvel.
right? For me, Tom Holland as an actor doesn't have that. Could he get it if he stays around longer? Maybe, but like looking at all the acts, I just don't see it. I don't see how they could build around a certain character like um Benedict Cumberbatch. He might be the closest to Robert Downey Jr., but like Doctor Strange as a character yet isn't that well rounded and big to say, look, we can make him the face of the Marvel. So yeah, for me right now, I'd have to say no. Like, can it happen? Sure, it can happen. Someone could break out and show us something we haven't seen. But like as of today, I can't say that yes.
Yeah,
I'm I'm
I'd
I'm,
agree.
I'm gonna throw in somebody, and y'all can disagree if y'all want. But I think if we continue with Chris Pratt can come close. I'm not gonna say he gonna ever step
Mm,
into them shoes, but Chris Pratt kind of got that personality like Robert Downey Jr. did.
For me, why I have to disagree is because he doesn't have the acting ability
yeah.
to do that. Like, just say for example, look at his dramatic scenes in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like he's not there. And what Robert Downey Jr., despite him being he has jokes, despite him being an a-hole, he has that ability to do all of that, but he could still bring you in and bring you could still be with Tony Stark as a character. Like you still can feel for him. As of right now, I mean Chris Pratt as an actor doesn't have that. It's like
Yeah,
there's
you
a lot
right.
of
Yeah. Agreed.
You right because on that end scene on Endgame, man, my jaw was dropped. I mean, that was just good acting skills at the very end with him and Thanos.
Right. Like you
Hmm.
knew. Like I mean, we didn't know, but we pretty much assumed he was going to die. But he still had you. Like I knew he was going to die because somebody stupid spoiled it in the comments of one of my videos. But like it wasn't to the point where like, man, you really spoiled it for me because I assumed he was going to die. But like when it happened, you still felt it because the way he performed it as an actor. Like
Right.
I just don't see anyone else being able to do that. And I'm not saying there's bad actors. Like Mahershala Ali's a two-time Academy Award actor, but like
Hmm.
Robert Downey Jr. has been acting since the '80s,
Yeah,
and he's been an Oscar caliber. He got nominated, didn't he, for Chaplin?
yeah,
Yeah.
he
I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
Chaplin.
Yeah.
Chaplin is
Yeah, he
over too.
Yeah. I
right.
just.
Like he's just a level above all of the actors, like the
Yeah,
main characters. Like
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Chris Evans. Like Chris Evans has improved leaps and bounds as an actor, but even then, like his acting ability as Captain America, it's just not on that level. With has
yeah.
added nuances that Robert Downey Jr. brings to Tony Stark.
And you know what? Marvel really struck gold because they caught Robert Downey Jr. at a bad spot in his life, and they gave him that second chance. And I'm
Right.
telling you, he ran with it.
Yeah. And that was because basically John Favreau kind of forced their hand on it too. But yeah, I
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah,
I agree
you know
too.
what? They was thinking about Tom Cruise before Robert Downey Jr. for that Iron Man role. Most people
Yeah.
don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't have. I mean, he could have done it, but I just it wouldn't have been the same. It just wouldn't have been the same. And I don't think that really, just like you guys were saying, I don't think there's anybody else in any of these series that that can really fill those shoes or can even have that prominent of a role.
Right.
Yeah,
Because really, you
Because
think
I mean,
about
Eh,
it, they kicked off the MCU with him, and that was for some people they ended it with him too. But
yeah.
I don't think there's anybody in any of these slates. I mean, obviously Tom Hiddleston probably could, but he's not a main good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Benedict Cumberbatch, he probably could, but his character isn't that prominent to the overall story. Even if them going more cosmic, he could be. But even Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, I don't even think that character, given her acting abilities and everything aside, and I say that because I haven't really seen enough of her work, but they just don't have, like you guys are saying, they don't have that same weight to their performances and anything like that to necessarily carry the franchise, like Robert Downey Jr. did. And I don't think there's anybody anywhere on this list that really does.
Yeah, man, and it all boils down to star power with acting, and I mean, like the MCU has a lot of great actors in it, like legitimate
Right.
great actors and award nominated actors. But like you got, I mean, you got. Let's say I'll use a sports analogy. You got you got an all star, and then you got Michael Jordan. that's,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Essentially. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna get another. And I don't think they're at this point. They need another character to kind of take kind of control and carry it forward anyway.
Right.
Like I said, for a while they were talking about Captain Marvel was going to be the big one, but I mean, even in the comic books, I don't know that character really did that either. Carried any kind of weight like that.
Right. I mean, there's no need. Like anyway, the MCU so big, and like they're bringing Fantastic Four, X Men. Like there's no need to have a centralized character anymore. You know.
Yeah, and maybe that's where they're gonna find. Maybe that's where they're gonna find that next person to carry it into the next phase is maybe through Fantastic Four, bringing like Reed Richards in and everything, because obviously he was big time in the comics. I mean, the Fantastic Four altogether, they're Marvel's first family. So
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
maybe somewhere in there they will get somebody to bring that weight to it to kind of launch it off again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin Feige, man, he a chess player, so he already got it figured out.
Yeah. He
I'm sure he
definitely
That dude,
does.
does.
That dude had pulled off something that's never been done before in Hollywood. So I'm pretty sure he got the next 10 years planned out.
Oh yeah,
I'm
they've got some ideas for sure.
I'm pretty sure he's sitting there like, okay, I've got number one movie of all time. I've done this, I've done that. What can I do next? I'm, I'm pretty sure he wants to top what he's done, but at the same time, he realistically knows that it's probably not possible. So he's like,
Right.
how can I keep this going without a drop off in quality?
Right. And that's really all you've got to do is just maintain the quality. That's really all
Mm-hmm.
you've got to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and at this point, I mean, I think people would still put up with, what most people call a stinker out of, like, say, Thor: The Dark World. I mean, I think we'll probably still. I think on this slate we have one of those movies, possibly two of them. Um, that could be a Thor: The Dark World that's not greatly received by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But you said something, Second Street. You said if they maintain the quality, and I'm gonna add something else to it. Maintain good stories because ever since the ancient times, people sat by the fire and was entertained by good stories. If they just maintain them good stories, everything gonna be all right. Just like with comic books. Yeah, we enjoy the art, but we enjoy a good story even better.
Right. Right. Definitely. Definitely. And and also that comes with too. I mean, they've got so much stuff to work off of anyway. And then on top of that, they're obviously not following the comic books to a T, which I think is a good thing. I don't want to see stuff out of the comic books directly on screen. Um, just because I mean, it almost seems almost like it defeats the purpose in a way.
But I'll tell you something. I have never ever, except for two movies where I seen they followed the comics to a T. That's Sin City and that's 300.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never seen any other movies. At first, I was upset when I first seen the first X-Men movie ever
Mm-hmm.
because oh man, they don't have the yellow suits or the blue suits. But then I understood you can't do that.
Right. At least
Some
not
stuff
back then.
won't translate well into real life or live action.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There's things you can do on a comic book panel that you just can't do on screen.
Yeah.
Um, which is one thing why I think Spider-Man works so well in comic books is because there's so much more you can do with him there that you can't really do on screen without making it look completely, totally comic bookish, I guess.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing, but it just wouldn't look. I just don't think the quality would be there for it. And I think is this the last one we have? Is the Oh no, I think guess there was Loki too, but
Loki.
Hawkeye series was announced as well. And obviously, this is probably going to be the introduction of either the Young Avengers or West Coast Avengers, which essentially, I mean, are we going to say that they're much different anyway? Just like as far as like the round out of characters and everything, and I'm really not for sure what to expect out of this show either. I mean, obviously it's going to be, I would guess Jeremy Renner's going to be in it, possibly teaching his daughter to take on the mantle. Um,
Kate Bishop.
oh
That's his
yeah, it's
daughter,
Kate.
right?
Yeah, well, Kate Bishop isn't his daughter,
Oh, okay. Well, he's
but
going to be teaching Kate Bishop.
yeah, I was gonna say, and I guess that's the thing is, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I never really read any of those, any of the Hawkeye comic books. Um, when they had those, I see them at the comic shop though. But yeah, I don't know.
I'm hyped up about this one. In Endgame, that's who impressed me the most was Hawkeye. I mean, Hawkeye was really doing his thing in that movie. To me, he was the star besides Robert Downey Jr. I mean, he was doing some good acting, some good action scenes. So I'm really prepared to see what they have planned for his character. And Jeremy, I mean, he a great actor anyway.
Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him. I like him.
He was in a good movie I seen a long time ago. That's when I first saw him. It was a movie with him and Ben Affleck, and they was wearing nuns suits and masks, and they was robbing banks.
The Town.
Seen
Is
them?
that the Town?
The Town, yeah, the Town.
Yeah, I never seen that one. I never seen that
And
one.
you need to see it, Second Street.
I
It's
need to because
great,
I like Ben Affleck too.
man. Hey, they did their thing in that movie. That's when I first seen Jeremy Renner. He was a gangster in that movie.
Yeah, I can't remember what the first thing I seen Jeremy Renner in was. Yeah, I don't know. I got to see Tag still anyway.
So I wonder, do Jeremy and Scarlett, they contracts are still going on compared to the other Avengers, right?
Which ones?
Like they have extended contracts compared to Chris Evans and the Hulk. Speaking of Hulk, is
Yeah.
he still in the MCU?
Yes, Mad
I
Mitch,
can't
I am.
think of the actor. I can't think of the actor name right now. Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is he still in the MCU?
Yeah.
Hard to
I
say.
think he was at Comic Con.
Oh, was he?
I think he was on Hall H. Let me
Huh.
double check. I got a picture of all of them. Let me see.
So the Avengers that we do have, we got the Hulk, we got Hawkeye, and we got Scarlet. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if they start a new Avengers. Wouldn't
Right.
surprise me at all.
Well, and the thing is like there was a cartoon series. I think it was Spider-Man and the Sinister Six, where basically Nick Fury was not around and he left Peter Parker in charge of Shield and the Avengers, and he was calling the shots, pretty
Yeah,
much. And to me, that's kind of what was alluded to in Far From Home, also. Him trying to take on that responsibility and growing up and all that kinds of stuff. So I mean, there's that. Another thing I was kind of disappointed about was no Ant-Man. I need some more
Yeah.
Ant-Man. I need me some Ant-Man, man. I love Paul Rudd, man. That dude's
did
great.
did you enjoy Ant Man too?
I did. I thought it was good. I mean, it wasn't like the greatest. It wasn't better than the first one.
Yeah, the first one, man, that blew my socks off. I didn't think it was gonna be that good.
Part of that was Edgar Wright. I mean, it was his script. He's the one that pretty much developed the whole thing. And I mean, if you know Edgar Wright, his movies are, he's just the kind of guy and personality and imagination of like what he does in his movies. So,
Yeah,
so
and what I like about that first Ant Man movie, it seemed like they did a lot with a little.
right,
No pun
right.
intended. No pun intended.
Yeah, no, they did, and it was perfect. And to me, a lot of that is Paul Rudd, because he's just absolutely great.
Yeah,
And
and
like,
Paul Rudd is one of them other actors who've been acting ever since he was a kid.
oh yeah, yeah. And because I remember like even in when he showed up in Civil War, like I almost jumped out of my seat. I was like, yeah, I'm like, yes, that's more. Like every time he was on screen, I mean, he stole it.
And what I like about his character, he the everyday man superhero. You know, he down on his luck. You
Right.
know, having custody battles with his daughter and his divorced his wife and all that. People get attached to those type of characters.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like me, I watch like Ant Man is some of my favorites. Like I'm very attached to the Ant Man character because for one, I mean, like I already said, it's Paul Rudd. I mean, I can't even think of something I've seen Paul Rudd in that it didn't like.
Yeah. Hey, I even liked him in Clueless. You ever seen
Oh
Clueless?
yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, like I Love You, Man. God, what was that? There's another one that he did too. Obviously, um, the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
40-year-old virgin. There was another one he did where they was like taking care of these adopted kids or something.
Adopted Kids. Oh man.
Yeah, I can't remember. They were taking care of like a little black boy or something. It was a real funny movie. I can't remember the name. I actually went to the movies to go
I was
see that.
I was about to say Grown Ups, but it's not Grown Ups. It's oh dang, why did I just forget? I got the dang movie in there.
I'm gonna have to Google
Um,
it.
yeah, I can't. Oh man, but it's got him and Sean William Scott in it.
Yeah, the dude from American Pie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Role Models.
role models. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good movie.
yeah, that movie is funny too. I'm gonna have to slap that in later tonight, man. Um, and then yeah, and then then there's the Loki series getting ready to come out. Obviously, it's hard to say where this one's gonna go. I mean, um, obviously he's actually dead in current times, but obviously we've seen in Endgame he got away
Yeah,
with the
and that's what
Tesseract.
I find strange is all these characters are either dead in the main timeline or it's no other way they can do a future movie. It will have to be a movie in the past.
Right, right.
I think this is a very strange lineup.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's what I was saying. I'm not sure if I said that before you got here, but yeah, it seems like this whole slate is all prequels. with the
And
exception of
and
Doctor
Loki,
Strange.
it's kind of interesting though with Loki because are we gonna get a villain movie?
No, it's a
Or
TV
we gonna
show.
get a superhero?
Yeah, I'm pretty. It's hard to say because I mean, all he does is he just causes mischief. He's not really good or bad. He doesn't care who he causes mischief to. He just wants to cause
Yeah,
mischief. But it'd definitely be interesting, especially because Tom Hiddleston is in it, and and yeah, like I said earlier, it's a shame that he's not one of the main good guy characters that they can use going forward because he's one of those dudes. He could carry the franchise for another 6, 7, 8, 9 years. But
yeah,
he's been around. He's been in the game just as long as Chris Hemsworth has, really.
yeah,
And that's what made me wonder about Vision too, because Paul Bettany, he's been there since day one, also.
yeah. He was the voice.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, but this Loki series, it kind of makes me wonder too, because they just launched a new Loki comic book right now. Just dropped last week, so
But is this Loki the movie or is this Loki Disney Plus TV show?
I believe it's just a. I think it's just a
It's a
streaming show.
TV show. It's not a
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a TV show based on what he was doing when he took the Infinity Stone from the 2012 timeline in Avengers Endgame,
Right. And see,
and it takes place after Avengers Endgame, so it's going to be in that alternate timeline. That's it.
yeah, and that's an interesting thing too. Like this is where the whole mess of the multiverse comes in and everything is because he took that from that particular timeline and all these other different things and just all these different things going on. It's like, and I always hear people saying like, oh, they leave all these plot holes in all these movies. These movies have plot holes, and I just laugh every time I hear that because I'm like, just because they left something open and in the air doesn't necessarily mean that it's a plot hole. I mean, it just gives them something to work off of later, if anything.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, as far as plot holes, I mean, sure you can find them, but maybe it's just because they left a loose end out there to tie up later. As we've seen what they did in Avengers Endgame, where they took some of them and kind of gave some payback on them and things like that. And that's what makes me wonder if that's what's going to happen in this Loki series. If they're going to do some stuff like that, like ooh, like this changed and this was a little bit different, which brings me back to like the mutants and the Fantastic Four and all that stuff coming in. Because people saying like maybe that's their way to bring them in through the multiverse. But the funny thing about the multiverse is like throughout the multiverse, all the different realities there is each person still exists in all those different realities. They just might be a different version of themselves. So realistically, in the universe we already have, Reed Richards is already there. He's probably just not Reed Richards, like the genius, scientist and all that stuff. He's probably just not that.
Okay, you fit to get real deep now, because you made me think about something that I seen on the end of Endgame.
Mhm.
Okay, Cap. Remember, Cap went back.
Mhm.
He went back, lived his life, and came back as an old man.
Right.
But but he went back in time and fought himself. So wouldn't himself still be somewhere? Like, remember, he went back in time to live his life, right?
Right.
But if you want to go back in time, wouldn't you see yourself? You see what I'm saying?
Maybe yes, maybe no. Cause
So to me, that kind of left it open. The Cap is still out there somewhere.
well,
You know what I mean?
the other Cap was still frozen in the ice when he went back to 1942.
Okay.
That Cap would have still been in the ice. Um, for that in that particular reality, but and that was the thing is like if he goes back in time to that point in time,
Point.
yeah, it's like that's the
He's
past, but that's a different reality. It becomes a branch reality at that point.
because he's the Cap that's there is there. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right. Well, not necessarily just that, but I mean, because even what they established, you know what? Maybe it doesn't, because that was the thing that behind their whole explanation was that they say like when you go back and when they went back in time, it doesn't change their current time, but he goes back in time, and that new past becomes the future. So he could
Look,
essentially
watch
go
this,
back
Second
to that
Street.
time and still be in the same timeline, which is how I
Watch
think he
this.
ended up there.
Watch this, Second Street. Okay. Remember they went back the first time. They went back in time.
Mm-hmm.
And they saw themselves.
Yeah.
Remember Captain America saw himself. So
Right.
if he go back in time again, he gonna see himself. You see what I mean? I think they kind of slipped up on that one.
Well, not necessarily because they went back to they were in 2012 when he seen himself the first time, and that Captain
Yeah.
America had already been thawed out and all that stuff, and then he just seen himself at that time. And you seen even in the movie he thought it was Loki he was fighting anyway.
Right.
Yeah, he thought he was fighting Loki, but that was the current time Cap he was fighting.
Right. Well, it was the past it was the past Cap.
The past Cap thought he was fighting Loki, but the
Right.
past Cap was fighting the current Captain America.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if Cap go back again, his self is gonna be there too. You see what I mean?
Well, yeah, but his self was frozen in ice clear up until
So,
the
okay,
90s or
so
whatever.
what he did was he went back to that point where he was frozen in ice.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean. I can see that.
Which
I can see that.
Which I was actually starting to think of something once you said that was I was thinking about the picture of himself that was on the desk of Peggy Carter's when they went back to the 70s. But at
Yeah,
that same point, if he would have went back in time and stayed with her, she would still be in love with him and probably would still have that picture on her desk anyway.
yeah. But still, you still make my point though. His body is still frozen in that ice, which means it's still another him out there.
Right. Right.
Kevin Feige could play with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Well, because my whole thing was like, what if he went back in time and what if he told him where Captain America was?
Yeah. If they needed him.
Yeah, I mean,
If the,
of course, he could have always went back in time and just stayed Captain America and been, basically himself the whole time, and like Captain America was never trapped in ice, even though he like realistically would have been. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which was something else I totally kind of fried my brain too. Because I'm like, dude, like he could go back and be Captain America because he looks the same as when he left. Nobody would ever know the difference.
Yeah.
He could put an end to the Nazis. He could have ended Hydra. He could have done all those other things.
Yeah.
But obviously, those things would have they would eventually lead to a branched reality too, a different reality where none of that stuff happened, and something else probably would have happened.
Yeah.
And God, there was something else to that too.
See, I thought about that when I was walking away from the movie because my favorite sci-fi movie of all time is Back to the Future 2.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever Marty and Doc went back in time, went to the future, went to the past, they saw themselves.
Right.
And I was thinking, okay, well, Cap had to be in a time where it was himself there too.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because even when they went back to the 70s, him and Tony, he would have still been there, but he would have just still been frozen in ice.
And even when Robert Downey Jr. went back in time and saw his dad,
Yeah.
remember the wife was pregnant with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Kevin Feige on down the line could bring back Chris Evans on down the line.
Oh yeah, certainly. And I don't even think they need time travel to do all that because, like I was saying, that Avengers standoff story, basically the Red Skull was manipulating the Cosmic Cube because at that point the Cosmic Cube was a sentient being known as Kobik. It was a little girl, and she actually went to Captain America and made him young again and made him didn't even give him the super soldier serum back, but basically made him back into Captain America, made him young and strong again when he was a frail old man.
Yeah.
And he looked just like he did in that comic too when he was a frail old man. He looked the exact same. He looked the exact same. It's crazy. But yeah, I think that's all I've really got. I guess been on here for a couple hours. Probably go
Yeah,
ahead and
good talk.
probably go ahead and call it a night. But yeah, and I don't know. I've got so many other just theories and things that I've been thinking about through the MCU because they always leave these little threads open of stuff that they can build on later. And that's what I was thinking, like I said earlier, about the Spider-Man with the taking over the shield thing and all that kind of stuff. It's just they just got the door open to so much, and it just makes me wonder exactly what they're gonna do, considering the slate we see here, and then what's gonna happen going forward. Because, like I said, a lot of this slate leads to the things that I was just talking about with that, like Avengers standoff and Civil War 2 and everything.
Just think about this. They have so many titles, comic book titles, coming out every month.
Mm-hmm.
These titles and these comics has been coming out ever since the 40s, 50s, 60s.
Right.
They have a unending source of material to work with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is probably why we could have just went with regular Thor.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if you caught that part of the conversation earlier, where I was talking about. I don't even necessarily think that it's going to be a long-standing thing. I think it's going to be Jane Foster will get the powers for that movie, and that's going to be it. Because, like I was saying earlier, Natalie Portman's not going to be in this whole thing for another 2-3 movies. Probably not even one more movie after this.
Yeah, because she looked like she wasn't even interested. Because in certain MCU movies, they didn't even mention her, and I always thought that was Thor's main love interest.
Right, and
But it was one movie where he said, "Yeah, I broke up with her,"
right,
and I was like, "And that's the end of it."
right. And that makes me wonder too. Because I've seen people asking about Lady Sif. It makes me wonder if they're going to bring her back into that as well. Into
I
this
hope
next
so. I
movie.
like Lady Sif.
Me too, especially the actress who plays her, Jamie Alexander. She's awesome.
Yeah,
Who is Lady Sif? The girl that was one of Thor's friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I always wonder what happened to his. It was like his little posse
yeah, yeah. The
from the
Warriors.
first movie.
God, what was it? The Warriors. I can't even remember the Warriors. I was gonna say the Warriors 3, but there was more than 3 of them. It's the Warriors 5, wasn't it? Was it the Warriors 5?
But I'm gonna tell
Yeah.
you something. Um, Natalie Portman. I mean, I'm not taking anything from her. She's a great actress. I still got respect for her in the movie The Professional when she was a little girl.
Yeah.
Man, that was some of the best acting I've seen in Hollywood. And she was only like what, 11, 12 years old in that movie?
Yeah. Something. Yeah. She was young. She was young. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a pretty good. She's a pretty good actress. Um. I mean, a lot of it. I mean, just like any actor, I think it kind of depends on how much they're into the role and everything. Because we've seen like there was some things like in the prequels where I thought she was really good, and then there was some things in the prequels where I was like, oh, well, like it doesn't seem like she really brought it there. Like just kind of phoned it
Yeah.
in a little bit. But
hmm
yeah, and that part of that plays into why I think that she's not going to be Jane Foster Thor throughout past this movie, regardless. Again, I think it's just like a marketing gimmick. I think it's a marketing gimmick that they're using.
Oh yeah, let's not forget she was in V for Vendetta too.
Yeah, and that was a good one too. I like that
Real
movie.
good movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man, she do her
See, she
thing.
do good in roles like that really, you know, shows her acting.
right,
I think the Thor movies don't really show that. She real goofy in the movie and it's all funny and stuff, and she probably not interested in that type of stuff. I
right.
mean, she just interested in the chick.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I can't imagine her being around much longer. But anyway, all right, fellas, thanks for showing up.
Good
We'll go
talk.
ahead and call it a day, and maybe we'll get in and do another one of these again soon. Obviously, we'll be seeing each other on Tuesday. If you guys are gonna make it to the stream, if you guys, in case anybody's out there watching, don't already know, this Tuesday will be over on Drunk 3PO's channel. Will be some black guys and a drunk. He has a panel. He's been going on there. God, what's it been? 6 weeks now? 7 weeks?
Something
Yeah.
like that.
It's getting up there. A great panel of guys come together talking about just everything going on in the news, kind of how we feel about it. None of us exactly feel the same. We all kind of have our own different opinions. We're not just bunch of robots out there saying what's on our mind. So You guys should come check it out. Again, that's Drunk 3PO. You might even be able to find the link down in the description of this video. You all have a very good evening. Have a great rest of your week. And we will see you all in the next video. Later.
Ta ta.